Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Factorio Bob's Angels, episode 9. Yeah, just at the start there we can see we're down to just 3 Sapphirite miners now. So yeah, that's soon to be running out, and we'll be depending on our very slow input of duolite, but it is still there. Reluctant to put any more miners in to avoid spreading pollution out too much into the biters. So we start the episode off finally fixing this section of belt. I think it's been broken maybe 1 or 2 episodes, but I've not really noticed because we've not been using that much solar plate, which is what this is primarily feeding at the moment. Yeah, I keep running off and coming back and realizing it's still not fixed. But this episode, I was actually really tired when I recorded this. I think it was last night. I've not been too well the last couple of days. I just felt the need to sit down and get the hour's worth of gameplay recorded because I was missing playing this series. I really want to get into it, get into the factory as quickly as we can. But yeah, I was very derpy recording this. I made a lot of mistakes, wasn't very well prepared, so I do apologise. I am feeling a lot better today though, so if I tried doing this dialogue last night while I was that tired and not feeling well, this whole episode would be even worse. Hopefully I can make up for a bit by having a laugh at myself and taking the piss out of post-me, because of course he's a different person. He doesn't have to worry about the commentary. I don't have to worry about the gameplay, apart from watching it and commenting on it. So, yeah, we want to start working towards blue science packs. Now, one of the first mistakes was you don't need batteries, I believe, for the blue science packs. Although thinking about it, you do normally. I'm not sure if you do anymore. So anyway, before I'd set up the standard oil processing, and forgotten that Bob's kind of changed the way you get the sulfuric acid. So I go in and add a few refineries. There's various different ways of doing it, and I go for the one method that doesn't need water hooking up because I couldn't be bothered to hook water up. So we start getting that laid out, but of course we then have to take that product and process that into sulfuric acid. So start getting that laid out. Get the inserters to extract the material. We are going to have to do something about oil at the moment because there's just not enough crude coming in to satisfy this many refiners. That of course is going to require pushing back biters and setting up a rail tanker, which is a lot of work, and I want to do it when I'm most prepared. So I kind of want to get a bit more into the factory before we go through doing that. But it'll definitely need doing when it becomes an issue of throughput. So then I go down. I'm actually checking here to see why I've got an odd number of underground pipes. I don't know why. As soon as I discover there's an odd number, it means there's a problem. I've placed too many, and I don't believe I've destroyed an odd number, so there's got to be a reason. So that's why I was searching down there. And then I decided to try and forget about it and realise that I have to pipe water in for the next step of the process. And I think, screw it, why bother? Why add an extra step? Let's pipe the water into the refineries because we're going to have to do it at some point anyway. So yeah, that's the first major mistake of this hour's worth of gameplay. Was that I should have just done the water straight away, because the other method's kind of better, I believe. We don't need that extra step. So I undo all the piping just to make sure we don't mix any pipes, because I wasn't sure which output it comes out on exactly. And we get the pipes hooked back up. Luckily, the petroleum and the heavy come out in the same place, and the first stage of the sulfur, I can't remember what this substance is before it becomes the full-on acid. But yeah, we get the pipes laid out for that. And we get the water hooked up to the refinery, so we now have some acid coming in. We get that hooked up. There's still another stage to convert this into the final product that we need. And we get a little buffer set up for that. So yeah, I don't believe we need batteries for blue science now. It's engines, level 2 assemblers, and the next stage of electronic circuits, which is what we'll get onto shortly. But we do need batteries for robots, which I do want to get onto as soon as possible because we'll need electronic engines. I am going to try and keep everything produced off belts on the bus as I can. It's, a lot of the high throughput stuff. But all the things like assembly, production, all the items that you need to build your factory, I'll get a lot of that just factorized. But we're not going full on bots for all of that. So we get some water purification going for this process and get it laid out. I don't know how many of these we're going to need really, so I start off with 2 because that's more than enough to deal with the current refining that's going on due to the very small amount of oil coming through. I mean, that will pick up when we get some level 2 oil derricks, which we're set to reset there in the research queue. Probably could have pushed them up to the top, but it's no real level of urgency. So the next stage is to get the batteries produced on the sub-bus. It's kind of a sub-bus production in my opinion, because it's used in other parts. It's an intermediary step. So we need to get the track moved. The track's in the way of the sub-bus. We're going to have to do this a few times, I think. I can't remember how far I push it. Because the sub-bus is eventually going to hit the Javolite patch and we're going to have to go round it or just skip it essentially. But at the moment, I just do a really crude lacing of the tracks. Yeah, this bit's horrible. That little zigzag corner, I don't like that in the slightest. But thankfully, this whole track system that's laid out at the moment is pretty much 100% temporary. So we're going to be changing it all eventually because at the moment it's very basic. It's just a necessity for getting that Javolite in, really. So we start clearing an area for the battery production. I start doing it by hand again, as per usual. Get a bit tired of it, and I think I'd crack out the nanobots at some point. Or do I not? But yeah, we get the spacing done for the batteries. This will be very good spot to beacon because of how slow batteries are done. We'll get them all filled with productivity modules once they're being produced, and beacons with speed modules will have a lovely fast production of batteries, but at the moment they are quite slow. So yeah, we carry on to lay the piping out for the input of sulfuric acid and the belts for the iron plates. But again, there we go, there's the nanobots finally. But they're not going to be needed in any huge level of demand. We get the pipes spaced out, and we get running some underground pipes to get the sulfuric acid passed down. Again, a lot of these pipes are a bit messy, and I'm kind of reluctant to bot it all, but I do like it. It's very tidy. You just place down the barreling structure, and you just barrel and unbarrel whatever you need wherever you want it. And barrels do carry quite a nice capacity of fluid, so probably going to convert to that at some point. And it's a nice way to tackle Factorio's weird fluid mechanics. You get a nice amount of throughput once you have some really high level biters. So yeah, we're now down to 2 sapphirite miners, and we also have a stereotype miner that's run out, which we grabbed just before that. And we go through and check the reserves there. We're sort of teetering on the edge with iron still. We've got enough. But yeah, we're going to be needing a lot more, and the more pollution we produce, the more ammunition we're going to need. I'm really going to need to sort out some proper defenses at some point, because those attacks are just going to get worse and worse. But at the moment, I'm kind of ignoring the problem. Don't really want to look at it, because it's a bit tedious, and it's to set up a whole set of proper defenses everywhere. It is going to use a lot of resources. So we take a split of the plastics, and the thing that's nice about the layout of this sub-bus is any product that needs to go backwards, it just acquires the lane in which it takes to get onto the main bus. So it's nice and diverse. I don't have to worry about what product's needed, because any product really can take its own lane back if it needs to. It is going to leave spaces on the bus, which I don't always like the look of. I like the bus to look full, which is a reason why I sometimes use underground belts inefficiently, where I could space it its whole distance, but I don't mind sacrificing those little bits of belt to fill it in. I like it to look full, but everyone each their own. You can do it whichever way you like, as long as it makes you happy. So we get the batteries spaced out across the sub bus and into its own lane. get to the main bus. I think I leave a space for what are they called again? It's on the tip of my tongue. It's made from quartz. The wafers, silicon wafers, that's it. We leave a space because I like to have 2 lanes for the silicon wafers. They are used quite a lot later on. But 2 lanes at the max speed of belt is quite a lot. And we get attacked up here by some biters and spitters, completely trashing the coal line. Little gits, so we have to go in and repair that. The other 2 stereotype miners have been depleted. But we get the coal fixed. We pick up the depleted coal miners. Coal's probably going to be the next thing, needing a running train. At that point we're going to have to upgrade the rail system if there's more than 1 train running on it, because they're just going to be a bit of a mess. So I need to work out where the final rail's going to be laid, which is probably going to require some biter slaying to create enough space. As if you've watched the series so far, you'll know I like to overdo my spacing just a little bit. And we also balance the output for the coal production. And then we move on to the old temporary base and start dismantling that. Now it's worked through the last of the sapphirite. Mainly just steal the belt, because that's what I'm running low on at the moment. Hence, due to me taking or ceasing the temporary base's production of belt, we're currently producing it by hand. So maybe that's another thing I need to do next episode, is get the wonderful belt production setup done, because we're going to need a lot of belt. So it'd be nice to have that automated rather than having to do it by hand all the time. And we realise there's no sulfuric acid coming through. We've only got a few batteries produced so far, so we head back to have a look at that. And I think, is this where, yes, I finally discover why I have an odd number of underground belts. It was basically just due to me dismantling that whole area, and looking at it now, and even at the time I realised that was really obvious. Very, very blatantly obvious that where I'd obtained the odd number. So I was very happy at this point, very elated, you know. It's just such a great feeling when you finally find that underground belt. So we go and have a look at sorting our inventory out, because it's getting very full. This is something I'll need to have a proper look at in between episodes, because it's a constant problem while playing. Maybe sort myself out a car. That's like an extra inventory, as long as you take it with you everywhere. So we head back and we start to dismantle this production area, which is temporary. I sometimes have these things lying around a lot longer, producing a lot more things. But I usually take a lot more time than I'm doing in this recording to try and get into it a bit more. So we dismantle that, and I decide I'm just going to deal with this at a manual level until we get botting, which is only hopefully going to be a couple of episodes. We'll get the bots producing stuff for us. Because I don't like having all these things produced from belts, because if you're not using them very much, then it's ground that's not being used, and the spacing of all the assemblers when doing it via bots is so nice and efficient. But yeah, that's when I'll get it done, really. So this is going to be the production for blue science. I like to keep the sciences in the same area, but it's difficult when the later sciences are using using products that are later on in the game. You know, I don't really like passing things back down the bus. To have the items here, it's a bit fiddly having to build everything in the right order to get the things here. So blue sciences, the last one we'll probably do off the bus, and the new sciences we'll probably bot, so that they can be produced nice and close to the science area. Sometimes I would keep rebuilding the science area as we do a new one, but that's a bit tedious and repetitive. It's not going to be fun for recording. And I want to do it this way anyway, it's nice and different. So yeah, we need the next level of circuits, we need engines, and we need level 2 assemblers. So I've not done this before, this is completely new for me, doing the science this way. So I think what I'm going to do is keep the engine production for the science separate, where I do the main engine production for electronic engines. I think I'll keep them separate. And I believe we need 12 engines every 12 seconds. And these get produced every 10 seconds, I think. So I put out 10 assemblers. But if we need any more, I mean, maybe one more. I haven't really done the exact maths, but I think 12 assemblers creating engines would be slightly too many, and 10 maybe slightly not enough. I don't know. But I do 10 just for the hell of it. Now, I wasn't completely happy with the placement of this area. I'm probably going to redo it slightly. Bring the blue science down a bit. But yeah, we're getting the engines produced for the science. We set a few more things to research, like a car would be very handy for more inventory space. And a few other bits and bobs. But that's one of the 3 products being produced for the blue science. I do start to try and place out the production for the assembler in a minute, but I'd already decided at this time I didn't really like the layout, but I wasn't going to do the rebuilding this episode. And again, the number of cogs needed for level 1, level 2 assembly machine production is going to need quite a lot. I think the level 2 needs 5 cogs per half second, so that's 10 every second. But we're never going to need to produce them that fast for science. You know, we're going to need 12 every 12 seconds, so I'll probably place that out in a way where the 2 assemblers won't be able to function at full speed, but they won't have to. They'll just have to function as fast as the number of science assemblers we have running. I start to look at the layout for the next level of circuits, and I realise I haven't done Phenolic board production yet, which is a Bob's sub-bus production. And rather laying out that circuit area first, I decided to come down and do that next, because it is going to go in the wood production area, which doesn't need many assemblers because they're so fast at producing what they produce. This area is still going to be expandable. It just means having to move the Phenolic boards along, but these will produce a lot, just these 2 electronic assemblers. Is that what they're called? You know, the smaller assembly machines that focus on electronic products. So I start to place out the resin and wooden boards here. Don't really like it that much. It starts to look a bit messy. So I get it running to begin with. Get the inserters placing out, including my usual bad habit of forgetting to turn off the adjustable inserters on the GUI. And then I decide, no, I don't really like it. I'm going to place it out differently. Still don't like it because I realised that resin isn't going to be produced fast enough to keep up with it with one assembler. And I don't want to have several here. So what I do, I decide to take it down and start again. In fact, looking at it now, I'm going to change it again. I still don't like the layout for it. Those wooden boards really don't need to be bussed. They could be passed straight into the assemblers. So I decide to rob the resin off the area for solder, which I can expand. I can expand this so much better without it getting in the way of everything. And there's even the capacity to have 2 lots of throughput. So I move it up here, get 4 assemblers placed out because resin takes a lot longer. And again, this is probably something I'm going to tidy up in between episodes. Very slightly, nothing too major. Just slightly different placement of things. And yeah, to carry on the theme of this messy episode, I also need to tidy up those lanes up there, because I don't think I've counted out the 10 lanes. I usually focus on the width of a red underground belt, which is 10 10 transport belts. And also earlier with my dismantling, I accidentally powered off the oil processing area, which again has ceased the battery production. And I think I start looking at the layout here of how many lanes per underground section. So it's like 10 lanes per section. First one being iron and copper. Second one being solder. The first and second levels of electronic circuits, that sort of thing. And we get the phenolic boards on the belt. Or at least, are these the phenolic boards, or are these used for phenolic boards? But anyway, the next level of board. And we reconfigure any of the inserters that are not passing onto both sides of the belt. They do every other inserter onto each side of the belt. and then I'll probably put a balancer in later. I don't know, a single belt balancer. Hello everyone, this is future me reveal. Just got to apologise again for such a derpy episode. I was still clearly really tired, even now I am, doing the post commentary for this. I do promise the next episode will be a bit more productive. But yeah, the amount of umming and erring I've had to edit out, this is ridiculous. Still left a lot in. But I do hope you have enjoyed. I'm really enjoying making this series. This is all we're going to have time for. But thank you for watching, and hopefully see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.